The military in Myanmar, also known as Burma, is using a new weapon to crack down on protesters. The junta imposed a law that threatens up to 20 years in prison for anyone convicted of obstructing the armed forces. Armored vehicles and soldiers are patrolling the streets, but demonstrators remain defiant, fighting for the return of the country's fragile democracy. Redmond Shannon reports.
2 weeks since the military coup, and the signs of unrest are only increasing in Myanmar. A vigil for a 20-year-old woman shot in the head during clashes with police. Now on life support, she is the most serious casualty of the protests so far. Across the ethnically diverse country, which is also known as Burma, people are rallying against the return to military rule. They were flanked on Monday by armoured vehicles as the military increased its presence on the streets. The new rulers are also introducing a law to monitor online activity, and they're threatening anyone obstructing armed forces with up to 20 years in prison. But many are defying those threats. This man said, "This is a peaceful protest. We are fighting for the freedom of government staff." But more so, they want freedom for the country's deposed leader, Aung San Suu Kyi. She was due in court Monday, but her lawyer says that will now take place Wednesday. The charges against her include illegal possession of 6 walkie-talkies. The Nobel Peace Prize winner easily won last year's elections. The military alleges voter fraud. Her popularity is despite international condemnation of the country's deadly persecution of Rohingya Muslims since 2017.
The military never actually totally stepped away from power. During the so-called transition to democracy, it was never a genuine transition to full democracy.
The military's position in government has been baked into democratic reforms made a decade ago.
And so far, the response from the international community has been very weak. It's sort of mostly amounted to statements of concern and condemnation. And we really need to move beyond that to get some practical action.
Human rights groups say other nations should target the military's money by restricting foreign investment to companies controlled by the armed forces. Redmond Shannon, Global News, London.